No, I'm gonna kick myself if I don't ask you this, sir. But that gentle placement of the bat after you hit the home run was a stark contrast to the other home run the other day. Everybody in the stands got a big kick out of that. Just how cool was that to hit that home run and then just set the bat down?
Yeah, I mean it's awesome. I know we needed one more run, and just kind of juiced up in the moment. But I'm just glad that I could scratch one more for us. So.
Alec, you were named the all-tournament or all-region most outstanding player for your efforts this weekend. What was this weekend like for you, and what is it like to be named that after this weekend?
Yeah, it's awesome. I really didn't have that in the back of my mind. I was just trying to enjoy the weekend. It's our last. You never know if this is our last home weekend. Hopefully it's not, but I was just soaking it all in, enjoying it, and just having fun.
Yeah, this question for Logan. What was the adrenaline rush of taking the mound tonight with a chance to close this thing out? And how did you feel like you pitched it?
The adrenaline rush was unreal. It was one of the best atmospheres I've ever pitched in. And then coming into the finish, it was a poetic finish. It's what we ball players play for.
Alec, yesterday you didn't get a hit, which was the first time in a while. How much did it feel good to, get back in the swing of things today and, see the ball leave the yard too?
I just tried to tell myself I had some loud outs, so there wasn't anything wrong with my swing necessarily. I just wanted to come out here and give our guys a chance to win and not have to come back tomorrow.
And then is this what you imagined, this year would be like when you transferred in from East Carolina, being able to put together, a run deep into the NCAA tournament?
Definitely, it was definitely more than what I expected coming over here. Like the year that we've had is just incredible. These guys have fought through so much. Hogue and Shane Van Dam. It's tough to see that, but they're out there just cheering us on, and we're all enjoying it.
Yeah, Noah, it's been kind of a tough go for you this year with the injuries. Just how rewarding is it to be on this team and be a part of getting to a super regional?
Yeah, I mean, one word really comes to mind, and I'm just thankful that that I was able to come back. I had to make a tough decision. Obviously, coach helped me with that decision, but I'm really just thankful to be a part of what we're doing, and really just thankful to be a part of this team. So.
Logan, for you, and just looking back on the way this season has gone, and what you had to fight through. You don't pitch in April, you come back in May, and it was, took some time to where you are right now. I mean, can you just kind of take us through that progression and what this feels like right now?
I mean, it's surreal and all part of God's plan. Yeah, it's been a tough little while, but today really sealed the deal for me in terms of how I'm feeling moving forward. But no doubt it was a tough year for a couple of us. But it's, like Coach says, it's not necessarily how you start, it's how you finish.
Logan, obviously we're in the 8th inning. Duden led up back-to-back doubles. He's obviously a freshman, but Coach talks a lot about how, freshmen aren't freshmen by the end of the year. What's going through your head when you see him on the mound in that situation? Back-to-back strikeouts to close out the inning.
Full confidence, man. Like, it goes back to the fall and how well we gel together. I mean, I don't view these guys as freshmen or younger guys or sophomores, juniors, none of that. I mean, this year it's been about creating a dynamic of, hey, this is our goal. Go get the job done. It's like you said, it's not next man up. It's just go out there, give it everything you got, and give it to the next guy.
Logan, at the same time, you were part of that 2021 team that went to the College World Series. Obviously injured during that time, but how much similarities do you see between the way that the kind of roles are filling up right now for the bullpen and for the starting pitchers as well, similar to that 2021 run where you had guys that you knew who was coming out of the bullpen when you needed to win a game?
Unfortunately, I can't speak on that because I wasn't with the guys. So I had TJ that year. But I can tell you the fall dynamic was free flow and similar to this year. Everybody just gelled together, loved each other, and we looked past small differences and whatnot because everybody's got them. When you spend every day with 40 players, you can find some. But we all gel together and find ways to, win ball games and compete, and that's one thing I think compares. If we're going to compare, I don't think there's any comparing to any of these teams. I think they both bring a very unique, chemistry and competitive nature to the game.
For Logan and Noah, what's it been like, I guess, watching Alec, do what he does this year, both offensively and at third on defense as well?
You can go first.
You want me to go first? Yeah. He's definitely smashed some expectations for sure, and he's much more than that. He's came in and gelled with the guys immediately, and it speaks to his high character, his high work ethic, and his knowledge of the game. From day one, he came in and we were all meshed and just kind of clicked. So.
Yeah, he's been awesome. Just watching him and how he carries himself on and off the field. But offensive and defensively, he's just a ball player. So I enjoy watching him. He's really good.
Go enjoy tonight, man. Let's call that blunt.
Yeah, no, not going.
Elliott, you've been coaching a long time. Just for you, what's the most rewarding part of this team and what they've done this year in reaching this point, getting to the Super Regional?
Yeah, it's every year is different, Chip. But from the first year I started coaching, I gave like 7 years as an assistant. You get you're as bought in as an assistant as you are making all the decisions. And so many lessons I learned from players and coaches in those 7 years. But from the moment I was a head coach at New Mexico State till now, every year is different. And the most rewarding part for a coach is seeing players come together. And this year started out really tough in a lot of ways. And when we thought we got things turned around and going in the right direction, we had a couple real critical, like 3 critical injuries. Noah Souls had surgery, then Hogue has surgery, and Van Dam had surgery. So you had 3 big-time players, 3-hole hitter, Noah Souls, and Shane Van Dam was our top long reliever at the time. And to see what those guys did after the injuries, it amazes me. I'll be honest with you. It amazes me what these guys – and players always teach you more than you teach them. And to see them fight and stay with things, become more disciplined and try to learn the game more and play the game and not against it. Like Coach Espo always told me, never play against the game. And to see that happen and them get rewarded, hopefully will teach them lessons for life that they'll carry on in their jobs and their marriage and so forth, because they realize what they did. And when they wake up in the morning, probably around 11 o'clock, they're probably going to sit there and hopefully dwell on, we did a lot of good things, and that's something they can take the rest of their life.
Coach, obviously you advanced to the Super Regionals back in 2021, Omaha as well. But how different is it to do it at home? The first time since 2013, you had lost the previous 2 Raleigh Regionals. How different is it to do it at home?
Well, it's cool to do it at home. I'm telling you, Corey, it's really cool to do it at home. The fans, these NC State fans are passionate, as we all know. But what they did for these 3 days, I talked to Adina, and while I called her name, let me think Adina Stock. Adina Stock ran one of the best regionals I've ever seen. She was here 2 in the morning, here at 6 a.m. She did so much work. And while I'm on that subject, the grounds crew, my God, that field where the games played, they worked their butts off. And Lizzie Hattricks, thank you for coming back and being an official scorer. So many people gave, but these fans, I've watched our fans in football, basketball, all sports my whole life. I spent a lifetime watching NC State play sports. And this was the best 3 days I've ever seen our fans at Doak Field and Dell Park. And it was really cool to look up there and see our players waving their hats to them and see those fans and what it meant to them. It was just, Corey, was really cool.
when you brought Alec in, from the transfer portal, is this what you expected to get out of him? What you've gotten from him this year, or is
No, it was not. And let me say this, because the transfer portal is something we're all going to live with now, and it's a tough thing, especially among programs that you're close to. And I find our program, the East Carolina program, two great programs, an hour and a half apart, and Cliff Godwin and I are very good friends. And matter of fact, I called Cliff the day before I was going to meet with Alec and told him, and I told him I didn't want to take him. I don't want to take a player from East Carolina. I don't want to take a player from North Carolina. Duke. I'm not into that, right? But he was going to leave. He was a grad guy, and he was going to leave. And I told Cliff I didn't want to take him, but I was going to meet with him next morning, and we needed a corner guy, third baseman, and we needed another stick from the right side. And I said, Cliff, if I like the kid, I'm going to have to take him if he's leaving, and I hope you'll understand. And he said, I do. And he said, you're going to like him because he's a great kid. So that's the way that went down. But what he's given us, I see the stats, 20 home runs, 24 doubles or something, hitting like 380 something. That's stupid numbers, but he's given us so much more. Him and Pennington have given us so much more from maturity, discipline, professionalism, and that carries equal weight when you're going through tough times. And then obviously you saw what Butterworth gave us as shortstop. He's as good a defensive shortstop as we've ever had here, and we've had a bunch of them.
Coach, I asked the question earlier about this bullpen and the similarities to what you saw in 2021, where guys, you knew who was coming out and you knew who was going to play those roles. Do you feel like those roles are as defined as they were back in 2021? And do you see these guys? I mean, I guess the second part of the question is, how proud are you of these guys for stepping up in these roles when you lose a guy like Shane Van Dam and you lose a guy early on in the season before you ever get started with Matt Willitson and having to change things around too?
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's not a parallel, but I'll never forget. We all remember the '83 national championship in basketball, and Derek went down. I think he had what do you have, Chip? 27 and a half against Virginia, and rolled his ankle or something, and he was out. And players had to pick up that slack. Who was it? Ernie and some guys picked up that slack, and so then when Derek came back, they became a stronger team, and that happened with us with Shane Van Dam and Logan Whitaker missed like 5 starts. Sam missed a start at Louisville. And guys had to grow up and take roles, and then you get Whitaker back and Sam healthy, and it just makes you a stronger ball club.
Elliott, you guys, they did allow some home runs. The kid Mancini hit 2 solos, but there was never really a lot of base runners to make that damage worse than it was. Your Highfield and then Whitaker today did a good job of keeping the runners off. Could you speak to the pitching and how they got you that situation where your hitters could do what they do?
And that's what you got to do, because obviously Mancini had not only a great game, he had a great tournament. My gosh. I think, did he hit 2 the game before, right? So he hits 4 home runs and a double today. Pretty good day. But James Madison, not only are they good, they're tough, but they are so well coached. They do things like the Cardinals used to do in the old heyday. They run, they hit and run, they steal bases. They do a lot of stuff, but they make you uncomfortable. And that is a very well-coached team, and they're tough and they're good. And we played very good. We could have made it a little easier. I know we left 16 people on base. That's some kind of a record, I think. But it shows that James Madison did things when they needed to. But that's, the solo home runs are big. 3-run homers will get you beat. Solos sometimes don't, unless you get in that pitching duel, which we were in tonight, so it could have. But just proud of everybody who went out there. And like I say, Whitaker was unbelievable. He was unbelievable. And for that guy to go out there and do that with what he's gone through, he's a testament to what every person in sports and every person in life should adhere to, because everybody from doctors to all of us had given up on that kid. He never gave up on himself. And if you never quit on yourself, then people aren't going to quit on you. And to see him out there was extra special for me.
Coach, you had these 23, 24-year-old guys up here, and then you got these kids on the mound, right? And that's such an interesting dynamic. And I just wondered if you could kind of explain how those pieces have fit together into such a cohesive group. And just, is it particularly unusual, I guess, to have these old guys and these young guys that fit together so well?
And I was really worried about that at the beginning of the year because we got 22, 23-year-olds. And when you're 22 and 23 in college, 18-year-olds don't seem quite as cool, right? The stupid stuff they do and all the things they do and the parties they want to go to, you're a little bit outdated on that. And I was wondering how this team was going to come together. But we've had a long history of leadership here. And I know who it started with. It could have started with Andrew Simpson, Terrence Sine, those guys. And I remember K-Yao, I got the pleasure and the honor and the luck to be in the same building with Coach Yao and Coach Valvano. And I learned so much from them along with Coach Esposito and Bob Guzzo and George Tarantini. And everything I've learned is what I have been taught because I pay attention. And Coach Yao told me one time, she said, Elliott, have all your players live together. I know it's harder for you. You got 35 guys, right? And I got 14, ladies. But try to live them all together, and they figure things out, and they figure out how to mesh and bond. And if the old guys will lead the right way, and if the young guys will pay attention, then you can mesh them together. And I just took advice from Coach Yao, and they do a lot of things off the field. And to watch those guys mesh, it's probably been one of the neatest things that I've seen. Great question.
Coach, Noah has been with you since 21, and he's dealt with a lot. How much of it is an advantage for you guys to have him with his experience in the 9-hole position?
Well, he was a leadoff hitter for a long time, and he's gone through so much. Last year he was plagued by hamstring all year long. Hamstrings, sometimes they just never heal. And this year he had that. He was playing good. He had that, starting to play really good. And he made a big turn at first base and had the high ankle sprain. And they said you can rehab it and be out 4 to 8 weeks, or you can do this surgery and you'll be back from 4 to 8 weeks, but you're guaranteed to be okay, right? So he chose the surgery, and I think he came back a little quicker than probably he should. So mentally and physically, I don't think he was ready. But when Hogue went down, I think he felt like he had to step up, and he said he was okay. And now he's close to being back to who Noah Souls was before the injury, and that's a big plus for our ball club.
Coach, you're obviously one step closer. You're obviously one step closer to Omaha. Huge win. Your team has been rolling the last couple of months. What are some of the similarities you're seeing between now and your 2021 College World Series team?
I think there's a lot of similarities, and the main similarity I'll take, you start out with 40 guys, which that's a lot of guys to try to, get cohesion and people figure out their roles. If you think about an NFL team has 53 players. We got 40 guys on a baseball team. And so getting roles defined and people accepting their roles and not getting sour, because everybody wants to play. Everybody goes to the weight room. Everybody goes to practice. Everybody works the same amount of time and hardness and puts everything into it. But some guys don't get rewarded with the playing time that they'd like to have and may deserve. And so figuring out roles is a tough thing. And that's something I'd like to mention right now, too. I think it's very tough when you're granted the NCAA gives you 40 guys. And then you go to the best part of the year, the ACC tournament, and you're told to take a quarter of your team and subtract those guys. So you're told to take 10 guys away from the best part of the year. I can't understand that concept. So then you go to the regional, if you're fortunate enough, and you're told to take a third of your team away. And that's hard to do. It's hard to have those conversations with men that have given so much to your program. And the way our guys handle that was another step of the maturity and discipline and love for each other and want to win no matter whether I'm the guy that's getting it done or not. It's just that's something you shoot for as a coach. And sometimes you get there, and sometimes it's hard, but we got there. I'm just so proud of these guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Craig.